Welcome back to Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about how you can actually automate your landscaping takeoffs. So, if you're in the commercial lawn maintenance side of things, commercial landscaping, commercial snow plowing, or heck, even into pest control, you do not want to miss today's episode. Today, we talk to Krista Kinsella of Attentive.ai, and she shares about this awesome software that can help you automate all this for you without even having to step foot on your property. So wouldn't it be nice to save hours, if not days, of going out and measuring all these commercial properties, counting the number of trees, figuring out how much square footage of your mulch? All this can be done for you using this amazing piece of software. So I encourage you guys to go check it out today. But just a quick reminder, if you are a landscaper and you're struggling trying to figure out what you need to charge your customers for your work, or you're kind of guessing and going off somebody else's numbers or competitors' numbers, or even somebody what they say on Facebook, you could be shortchanging yourself. So inside the Million Dollar Academy, we walk through step by step and figuring what you need to charge your customers based on what you pay your people, what kind of equipment you have, what your overhead is. No more guessing. You're going to know down to the penny what you need to charge your customers based, again, on your business's numbers. So definitely go check out the Million Dollar Academy. But a quick word from our sponsors.
The only app every landscaper needs. Company Cam makes it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with guys in the field, no matter where you are. Company Cam brings documentation, communication, and liability protection together in one simple, easy-to-use app for you and your entire team. Take unlimited photos and videos, share custom reports, create flawless before and afters, and even communicate and share progress with homeowners with galleries and project timelines, all from your smartphone. Company Cam, the only app every landscaper needs. Check it out at companycam.com/million or in your app store.
If you run a landscape or lawn care business, you know the work never ends. There's customer service, hiring staff, mountains of paperwork. The to-do list just goes on and on. Plus, you still need to do the actual work that pays your bills. Running your entire business with pen and paper alone is just hard and really plain messy. You know you need a better system to stay on top of everything so nothing falls through the cracks. Jobber is a mobile and online app that helps keep your business organized and looking more professional than ever. With Jobber, you can quote jobs, schedule your crews, send out invoices, accept payments online, all in one place. You won't know how you ran your business without it. Jobber offers free one-on-one coaching to help get you started, and there's no software experience needed. Get paid on time, go paperless, and impress your customers. Try it for free today at getjobber.com/MDL. This podcast is brought to you by Busy Busy. Busy Busy is so simple to use, and it's the most reliable GPS time tracking app on the market. And the best part is, it was built for landscapers. Busy Busy's founder created Busy Busy because he owns multiple construction companies and needed to understand better which projects were making him money and which projects were killing him. Payroll is the highest variable cost in the project, so you better be tracking it. Busy Busy does this better than anyone else. So download Busy Busy today, and don't forget to mention the Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast to get 3 free months.
We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You know you want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com, and for $100 off, mention the Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. If you want to get the leads you want and turn your current clients into raving fans, then you need to try SendJim. They've created an exclusive offer just for our listeners. If you sign up today, you can get your first month for just $2. So if you haven't already, go to sendjim.io/MDL, where you can get even more exclusive deals just for Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast listeners. That's sendjim.io/MDL, and take advantage of these awesome deals today.
Welcome back to Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. Today, I'm excited to bring on Kristen Kinsella of Attentive.ai. It's a awesome platform that helps you automate your project or your property measurement and takeoff solutions. and I'm excited to bring her on today. She is an avid outdoors person. We were actually just before we jumped on this podcast talking about camping and all kinds of good stuff. So I'm excited to have her talk about that. And she's also into coaching youth sports. Welcome, Kristen. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Scott. I'm so glad to be here. This is so fun. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me. I'm excited to talk
Yeah.
about all these things.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, like I said, just before we hopped on, we're talking about camping, and she's been all over the place. Is awesome. So, it's exciting just to talk to people to do that kind of thing. And I find it a lot, or it happens a lot inside the green industry. A lot of people go out camping and fishing, so it's pretty natural, I guess.
I do a lot
But
of fishing. I was just fishing yesterday.
nice, that's awesome. Catch
Yeah.
anything good?
So I was setting up the new tackle box while my little boys were fishing, and there's like there's a Panera by our house, and there's like a retention pond, and you wouldn't believe it, but there are great great bluegill and bass in there, and they're nice. They're huge. So we caught
That's
a big, big, like a few big bluegill and then a good sized bass. Just while cars just driving by, it's like in the middle of a suburb.
somewhere you wouldn't think have it.
Exactly. That's why
That's
it's like it's our secret spot, even though we're like out there in plain daylight.
Nice.
Honey hole.
Nice. So I'm excited to talk to you about this newer software that I just came across actually at the GIE called Attentive.ai. And like I said, it's an automated property measurement tool. So you mind sharing a little bit about that, Kristen, and a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got started with them?
Sure. That's a lot all at once here. Okay. So let's go backwards. So before I joined Attentive, I was working for a commercial landscape company in the Chicago area. And I was an estimator, and I was measuring properties all day long, every day for about 3 years using online tools where, you click around and you measure all your turf and your beds and count all the trees. And I was doing that all manually, drawing polygons, left and right all the time. But I was kind of tired of it and getting burned out, as I'm sure a lot of people experience. So I was looking for a better solution. And that's when I found Attentive. And I reached out to them, and I guess the rest is history. I helped them kind of refine their tools that they already had kind of started building, or they had built, I should say, for the insurance industry. And then also they were working with like TruGreen, measuring lawns for them. So we just kind of took it another step out and added all the commercial landscape features. So we use AI to measure the properties so that people don't have to spend hours and hours doing it themselves. It's pretty awesome, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. So for those that don't know, what is AI and what does it do exactly for this software?
Sure. So AI is artificial intelligence, right? So you train computers to recognize features like on the map imagery, for example, in this case, to in order to measure them. So, the computer is looking at the pixels, maybe the color, texture, and then saying, okay, this is lawn, this is a bed, or this is a mulch bed, this is a gravel bed, these are trees. And so over time, as you train it, it gets better and better and faster. So as we train these computers to recognize the features and then outline them, we can get very efficient with the AI, with the measuring. So it's kind of like I've been told, basically, when you're on Google and they're like, "Are you a robot?" and you've got to click all the fire hydrants or something like that. That's you're training Google's machines to learn, that it's kind of reinforcing these are fire hydrants, even though it kind of knows. It's also reinforcing. So when we put out a takeoff, we put it back through the system to reinforce the learning for the computers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is, to me, is like a whole nother evolution of property management. I'm sure many of us have heard some of the major softwares out there that you actually go in, like you said, just click on and make all the polygons itself. This is
Right.
a next step, which is awesome.
Yeah. So, like, for example, maybe 100-acre HOA might take you a week. either walking it off or manually measuring it by clicking around. It's a lot of clicks, right, to measure, especially if the features aren't just squares. It's a lot of clicks. It takes a lot of time. You got to look, super close and try to figure out what's what. But I can do a 100-acre HOA now in like 5 minutes. I put in my address, I draw my boundaries and click go, and then like by the next day I have my measurements, and I didn't have to do anything but spend that 5 minutes. So it's a huge game changer for the industry. People can spend more time doing more meaningful things, instead of drawing polygons or guessing
No,
and then
absolutely.
regretting.
Yeah, exactly. No,
So,
I've done my fair share of getting out there and measuring up and counting trees and
mhm,
beds and all that stuff. And it just takes so much time.
mhm.
And having like this software like you guys have is just, it's amazing. And then, like you said, 5 minutes versus the hours or days doing all that. And
Definitely.
yeah, and like you said, that I know I've made my own share of mistakes, so having software that kind of helps you out. So if it
Right.
does, the software goes out and counts, can you double check that, or is there a way to make sure it's all correct, or can you
Mm,
adjust things if the property
Sure,
lines aren't
sure.
correct?
That's a good question. So it's not all computers. We do have a quality control team that does review every measurement. So you're not just getting this kind of blind turnaround. Like you said, computers are also always learning and getting better. So what we do is we have a team that reviews every measurement before it gets sent back to you. Basically,
Okay.
you put in your address, computer measures, team quality checks it, and then it gets sent back to you. We recommend first trying out. We have a free trial. First, try out some things you've already done, and you can compare. Does this look like something you've done, and you've done a good job? Because not every takeoff people do manually is the best, because you just don't have time. So
Mhm.
if you have a good takeoff you've already done, send it through our system, compare, and you'll see that it's going to be very, very close. And you're comparing manual processes to computer processes. There's going to be some differences, but I'm gonna go with it's probably going to be more accurate, or at least pretty darn accurate on our side, comparatively. We have customers who basically say 98% is accuracy as far as their experience with when they're doing those comparisons. So
Sweet. So this also, just make sure I'm correct here. This all, I mean, obviously does the square footage, but can it do like linear bed
yep.
edging and counting plants
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
okay.
So right now we have a standard set of features. You can do all landscaping and snow features, as we call them, or your hardscapes and your softscapes. We have turf, gravel bed, mulch bed. Let's see. Sorry about all the
No.
through anything. Tree count, soft edge, which is where your turf meets your beds. Hard edge, where your turf meets your sidewalks or your curbs. We do driveways in the residential case or HOA. Um, we do pavement, which would be your patios, or if you're at a commercial site where the garbage bins are stored. We also have drive lanes and parking spots that we separate those out. But if you don't do that, you can just add those together. Did I miss anything? We are also developing a few more things, like splitting up the lawn into rough mow, secondary mow, and we're putting retention ponds out there, and as well as shrub count. So it's continually improving, continually getting better and more powerful, for sure.
No, this is awesome. And the biggest thing, like you said it earlier, was as an estimator or salesperson, this is going to free you up with so much time to get
Definitely.
back to this customer. So when you just put it into the tentative AI, click go. And what is a turnaround time? I guess I should ask.
You're right. So turnaround time isn't instant, not yet.
Yeah.
It's going to get faster. I'm going to tell you that, but definitely not instant. So it depends on the size of the property and the number of features. So if your property is just like say a McDonald's, something, just a box store, it's probably going to take a couple hours.
Mhm.
Like say it's 2 acres or something like that. And like I said, if I didn't, I've done 100, 200-acre HOAs, and I get them back within a day, within 24 hours. So it's most properties within 6 hours, probably, I would say, on average, if you're just kind of a standard commercial site, right? If
Yeah.
it's bigger, it's going to take a little longer. More features going to take longer than less features. If you're just doing a snow report, it's going to be faster than a landscaping report, probably for the same size property, just less features. And you had asked also about editing, and you can totally customize any output that you get. So if you wanted to, we give you all the tools to make that as custom as possible. So basically, you have a lawn area, and you want to make that a 20-inch mow or something in their 21-inch mow area. You can just reclassify it. You create a group really quickly, click on that polygon, throw it into the 21-inch mow group, and you're good to go. We also have a lasso tool. You can do bulk reclassifications, bulk deletions. We have a
Nice.
lot of great tools that just makes it totally user friendly and powerful for sure.
No, that's amazing. Like just even having a turnaround time of 24 hours is awesome.
Yeah.
Said use that time to get back to or to reach out to current customers or
Right.
reach out to new customers. So that's
And
huge.
that's one takeoff. Each user can put 2 in at a time, and they're running in parallel. And you can also load up a queue of up to like 8 more properties. So as soon as one is done, that next property is going to start measuring. You don't have to go back and like keep putting them in after they're done. So it's pretty powerful that way too, I would say.
So currently, you guys have it just for mainly commercial landscapes or lawn maintenance and pest control, correct?
Right. So for the commercial landscape platform that we're kind of talking about right now for AutoMeasure, that is more geared towards commercial experience, but we definitely have people measuring residential properties. Take an hour or something like that on a property. You're not going to get turned around immediately, and that's why we don't really market to residential companies, because a lot of times they want to turn it around a lot faster than that even. But I mean, if you know your area, you know what you want to measure in advance, then it's great, right? Even if it's a residential area, but you're probably not going to be able to drive around house to house and knock on doors and do it really, right there, right? So
Sure.
it can be done. It's just not what we are like geared towards right now. The pest control side is a little different, and that is more instant, and that's something that a pest control company can put on their website for their customers to go in, put their address in, and then pick the services and get that instant quote and actually pay and schedule and all that all on their website.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
amazing.
exciting stuff.
So how is Attentive, besides the AI, or I guess it should include the AI, how's it different from like something like as Go Ilon or just getting on Google Maps?
Sure.
What's the
I
differences?
mean, the biggest thing, and I was a Go Ilon user, and I was a Google Map user, Google Earth user, and the biggest thing is just that manual piece, right?
Mhm.
Um, on Go Ilon, you're drawing the polygons yourself. You're clicking around. You're spending the time drawing the polygons yourself. And Google Earth, same thing. The difference between Google Earth and Go Ilon, I would say, and why I would use Go Ilon for something more intricate, is that you don't have that takeoff piece that you get, that where the shapes are being added up together nicely, and you have the export and all that of the data. So with Google Earth, you have to keep track of everything. You have to move that data into somewhere else in an Excel spreadsheet yourself manually. So it's very manual. It's fine for, one big parking lot here and there. It's not too hard. The other thing is imagery, right? So Google Earth is going to be a lower resolution, so 21 centimeters resolution, and that's satellite imagery, whereas like Go Ilon is going to be aerial imagery, so better resolution. And then with Attentive, we have aerial imagery, which is with a near map, and it's 7 centimeters of resolution, so 3 times better than Google Earth. And our imagery is going to be within the last 9 months. And most imagery in most areas is coming out in the last 2-3 months. So we're going to be very up to date, very consistently compared to these other platforms. Most people come to us because they can't find that imagery. They're trying to find these aerial maps with the site that they're trying to measure, and so most of the times we have it.
So currently your software can only use the satellite or aerial imaging. Can it be, if somebody has a drone, could they put that up and then use that imagery, or just
So we don't have a we're not taking imagery in. You're not loading
Okay.
your own imagery in. So right now I would say no. I definitely think that's something we can like look at for, the roadmap. If somebody was interested in like, hey, I want to fly my own drone and upload my stuff, but use your measurement tool. I feel like, to me, right here, just right now, I feel like that's possible. But I would definitely have to go back to my engineering team and see if how feasible it is. But it does sound like a good idea and something that we can throw on the roadmap for sure.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious. I
No,
think
it's
that'd
a
be
good
kind of
idea.
cool.
Definitely.
I guess you'd have to have at least some one measurement of something that way you can figure out the scale to it. But
Yeah, I
yeah, it'd be
think
kind of cool.
that's definitely possible. I mean, I know there are softwares that do something like this,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're using aerial imagery, right?
Hmm.
So it can be done. I just don't know the technology behind it personally.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. And I know you guys are, you're always developing, always updating. Is there anything that we should look forward to coming out in the future, or
I mean,
something
we've
you
got a
can't?
lot in store. We're
Yeah.
definitely continuing to improve our current offerings, add new features all the time. We love feedback. We love to get information from the landscapers themselves and from business owners who are using the software and what they need and what works for them. We definitely take that into heart. And if you
Mhm.
had seen our software, a year ago versus when we first kind of released this commercial platform versus today, I mean, it's amazing the progress and where we're at. Not that it was bad back then, but we definitely have made some amazing improvements. It's super powerful software. We are looking to, we are building, I should say, and hoping to release in the next quarter an automated estimator and proposal tool,
Nice.
which we're
Nice.
super excited about. So, when you have a proposal, you start with your takeoff. You build your estimate, and then you give your proposal to your client. So this would automate that whole process. So
Okay.
that's pretty powerful too. I'm pretty excited
Yeah.
about that.
Nice. So, can you give the listeners an idea? Like, so if they have a customer calls in and tells them, they want to some services done,
Hmm.
and they get the address and stuff, what's the procedure on the software's end?
Sure.
What do they do?
Yeah, super simple. You just start putting in you go to our website. It's a web-based platform, so you get an account, and that's really easy. Just put in an email address, your name, and basically that's about it to get started. We send an email. You confirm that email, is yours, um, and then you'll be able to get into the platform. We do start with a free trial, so if you want to test it out, it's really easy. But once you're a user and you've kind of paid for the annual subscription, um, you're just putting in an address. You go click on create, put in an address. It'll auto populate just like you're searching an address on Google Maps. So you can select the address once it pops up. You can also search by McDonald's, whatever town you're in, that sort of thing. Sorry to go keep using. I have not paid by McDonald's for anything. It's just like for some reason it just keeps coming into my head. They're ubiquitous. I don't know. Anyway, so then the property will appear on the screen, and it'll be outlined by a government parcel map, basically, or outline.
Okay.
So we have data from government parcel data for pretty much the all U.S. where we can find it. And so once you have that, you can edit that boundary if you need to include something that's not there initially, and then basically just hit go. I mean, it's pretty simple. Put in your address, fix the boundaries if you need to, and click proceed. And then you get a email once it's done. There's a little like timer that gives you an estimate of how long it's going to take, and then it's usually faster than what it says. We gotta like to give a little buffer, so make
Sure.
sure whatever want to be. We don't want to disappoint anyone. Um, it's like Amazon, right? When they first started out, they blew everybody's mind by delivering faster than they said they would. So that's kind of the goal there. We want to blow people's minds. Anyway, you'll get an email once your property measurement is done. It gives you a link, takes you back to your account. You can also just monitor your account if you want to. There's a little notification system in there as well. But you don't have to sit there and check on it. You know that when it's done, you'll be notified. You You can look at it. You can export all the data, an Excel data file. We've got a nice PDF report that you could share with maybe an owner, maybe your production team, however you want to use that. We also have a folder of JPEG images that is automatically created, so you don't have to sit there and take screenshots. And we have a share link, which is one of my favorite things. So you can just give somebody a link. They can look at that measurement. You don't have to share screenshots. You don't have to do a lot of work to share your takeoff. So it's pretty cool in that regard.
Do you know how accurate is the software in the takeoffs? Is it?
I mean, like 90, I would say 95 to 100%. On general, I think 98 is what we hear a lot of, 98%.
Okay. Very cool.
I mean, you got to think, right? If you're doing it manually, there's a lot of room for error. So, especially if you're, I've walked off properties before. I didn't have to do it a lot, thank God, because that takes a long time. But more so trying to keep track of where you're at on a property and put that on paper and then not duplicate your, it's just, there's so much room for error. And, here you can see what's been measured. You can edit it if you need to, but you shouldn't need to. And it's just it's a game changer, really. I mean, keeping track of manual measurements but even on Google Earth, same thing, right? If you're basically transferring information and there's a lot of room for error, and if your maps are not up to date, things like that, this is just a game changer. It's great. And I could say, like, my old company bought the software and basically replaced me with it. And I think it's great, honestly. Obviously I have a job still, but I mean, nobody wants to measure. Nobody really I mean, it was, every once in a while it's kind of like therapeutic, I guess, because like drawing or something, but not every day, and most account managers, if they're measuring, they don't want to measure. They want to be selling. They want to be on the, at the site talking to their clients. They want to be looking for more business and preparing good estimates, based on the data, not actually sitting there doing that manual process. So, it's, and honestly, like that company that I work for, they can do more now than they could with me alone, because I was the only estimator and I can only, meet so many people's needs. There's just 12 account managers sending me stuff, and I just couldn't do it all. And with this, they each can do 2 properties at a time plus a queue of 8. I mean, it's just totally it's totally levels up their game,
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. It's definitely a game changer in the industry.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't know, as a whole industry, I feel we are pretty far behind other
Yes.
industries as far as anything else is in this stuff. So I think it's amazing you guys have come up with this.
Yeah, it's great. And I was like kind of like serendipitous, I guess, a little bit. I don't know, maybe somebody else would have reached out to Attentive, but it was kind of like they had this idea, but it just wasn't quite there yet. And so when I partnered with them, like as a consultant last year, it just was like they had what I needed and wanted, and I had what they needed, and so it was kind of cool to, see that come to fruition and where we're at today, and just continuing to grow. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So.
Do you mind sharing any of the pricing that you have for the
Sure.
software?
Yeah, our pricing is available on our website, which is just attentive.ai, and then you can follow the links. And for this particular auto measure, you would follow the commercial landscaping link, and then there's a link to pricing. But basically, it's priced per acre, and then it's broken down by what report type. So if you want landscaping only, soft or hardscaping, which would be your snow report, or a combination of that, the price varies. So if you wanted everything, all the features right now, for up to 20 acres of measurement area, it's $3.75 per acre. If you have less features, just a snow report or whatever, it's going to be less than that. And I don't have that number in the top of my head, but basically, your everything. If you wanted everything, it's $3.75 per acre, plus the annual subscription fee, which is only $99 per user for the year. So it's very nominal. You know,
Oh yeah,
it's very
that's
nominal.
that's cheap, really.
Super cheap.
It is. Well, if you really look at it, and like you said, if you're spending hours or even days out measuring these properties, and you compare that to somebody's salary versus the $3.75, it's like really a no brainer. Like,
It's a
why wouldn't you take
no-brainer,
advantage?
and that's the feedback I get from people who, companies that use our software. It's a no-brainer. Like, especially if you think of the price of gas. I mean, right now by me, $5.20 a gallon. I mean, I can't even get to it's so expensive, and I know companies are just hurting so much right now, especially in the landscaping industry, because there's so much fuel involved with the
Mhm.
trucks and the mowers and all that. So saving the account managers visiting, sites to measure is just another fuel cost that you're saving, So
Mhm.
it's yeah,
Yeah,
it seems like it's a no-brainer. I mean, I can put
that's
10 properties in and have them all done, and then do real good quality work instead.
mhm.
So um
Yeah. No, it's definitely a game changer for the industry, and I encourage everybody out there at least go check it out. You guys have demos too, I believe,
Oh
available too.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So our website has a whole help section, and with little videos and tutorials and stuff like that. But we also have a YouTube, where I've got some videos out there. I have a video, just a quick 4 minute, start to finish, creating a request for measurement video, and then some of our features. Also, I have some videos highlighting the features too. But and that would just be, I don't know. I just usually just Google YouTube attentive property measurement, and then I get there. I honestly, unfortunately, don't know what that address is, but
That's all
maybe
right.
I'll share it with you. You
Uh,
can put it in the show notes or
yep.
something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have all the links in the show notes so you guys go
Awesome.
check it out. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us today or anything about Attentive?
Oh, I think we covered the bulk of it. I mean, there's
Yep.
not a lot to it, right? I mean, put in an address, fix your
Yep.
boundaries, click go, and go do something more fun. Um,
Yeah. No, it's exactly what it is.
so
No, I do want to say too, Attentive is so awesome. They actually are giving listeners of the podcast 80% off of their first year. Is that correct? Or the
yeah,
platform
we
access?
can we can do that. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. So if you just use the coupon code $1,000,000, and I'll have this all in the show notes. So
yeah,
definitely go check it out. Uh,
definitely.
it, it's really a no brainer, like we talked about, for what you're paying your team or salespeople or whatever to do all this versus just the software and have it done for you. And again, you can use that opportunity to reach out to new customers, to reach out to past customers and just use your salesmanship skills on those types of people
Yeah.
versus spending your time out there measuring or counting or whatever.
And maybe if you're in the residential space and you want to move to the commercial space a little bit, this could be an easy way to kind of get started, because I know,
Mhm.
if you're not used to doing takeoffs for a big property, this makes it a whole lot easier. We've got some franchise companies, US Lawns, they use our platform because they've got a lot of people that come and own franchises that haven't really come from the industry, and they may not know. So for them,
Mhm.
it's a no-brainer, right? They don't have to train these people, to walk off properties and
Mhm.
measure manually and all that. So it's kind of, obviously, there's still stuff to learn, if you're new at this, but this takes away a lot of that extra time that you
Sure.
would spend, just taking off a property, especially if you're an owner operator, and you can't find time to, walk off a property or even manually measure it online. So,
Yeah. Well, I guess kind of on the subject, I guess if you are coming from the residential industry and going to commercial, I know I just see like a lot of the Facebook groups and forums, people just tend to go out to a property, especially residential, and they'll look at it and be like, I'll have this done in like half hour or 45
right,
minutes. But they're not taking consideration counting everything.
right.
what is the advantage of doing that versus just guessing how much time on even a commercial property? Why would you want to count everything?
Sure. I mean, you just because you don't want to lose money, right? I mean, if you underbid because you missed, there's like, this X amount of bed space, say mulch, for example, you definitely don't want to underbid on mulch, things like that. And everything takes time, and the closer you get to getting that time bit accurate, the better, the more money you're going to make, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
You're going to put out a good estimate, a good proposal, because you know that you have this much trimming to do. You have this much mulch that you need, and you're not going to under or overbid. And you're just going to, and you're going to give your buyer, the person who you're serving, confidence that you know what you're doing.
Mhm.
You can show them. I see you have 20 trees on your property. I see you have 300 square feet of shrubs and 200 square feet of perennials, and I know that's going to take me this amount of time to do that. So I'm going to dedicate the right amount of time
Mhm.
and make sure that your property looks good, because I'm paying attention. I'm doing it right. So, I mean, I know like a house, if you're in a neighborhood, a lot of times things are very similar. And if you have experience, then yes, it is probably easier to walk up and say $40
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
that's your experience. But if you're going to move into a space that you're not familiar with, that's bigger, you really want to know what you're getting into. And so having those measurements and having factors established, which you can look up online if you don't know, factors. You can find those things. There's tools out there to help you find factors so that you can figure out what your cost should be for, X amount of acres of this or this many
Mhm.
square feet of that. So it's,
Yeah.
that's going to get you to the next level, basically. Good estimates. That's where it
Mhm.
starts.
Absolutely. And if you really think about it, you're basically selling your time, your equipment's time, and everything needs to be kind of figured. Like everything we do in estimating is figured in production hours, man hours, whatever you
Right.
like to call them. So, like your mower, whatever mower you're using, can only mow so much property, per hour, or you can
Hmm.
only trim so much per hour, or so many, edge or bed edge it so much per hour. So everything's figured in hours, and
Right.
that's where having a tool like this can tell you. So you have 20 trees, well, I can trim around these 20 trees in half hour each or whatever it is. You can multiply it out by 20 trees, you know how much
Right.
time it's going to take to do this. So that's
Exactly.
that's like Kristen said, it's the next level type of estimating that if you're coming from the residential industry, you may not have done that before, but this is like what will definitely step you up. And like you said, you're more confident. And that's one thing I see in our academy members is people that's how we teach to do your estimates. And they start doing the production hours. And when they go out and give an estimate to a customer, they're confident saying, oh, I know it's going to take me 2 hours to do this property, whatever it is.
Right.
And you're confident in your pricing because you know it's going to take you this time.
Right.
So having a software like this that can help you figure out all this is just going to up your game that much more.
Yeah. And you can show them, right? You can show the client, hey, you have this much of this, and this is how long it takes. And I have the
Yep.
math here. And, if somebody wants to charge you less, they're probably not going to do as good of a job. I'm showing
Mhm.
you what it takes, and I'm going to do that for you. But, you don't want that job if you're not going to make money on it. So,
Yep.
so
It's not a hobby.
right.
Not a hobby.
No, it's not a hobby. It's a lot of work. It's hard. So,
It is. It
yeah.
is. Well, Kristen, I appreciate you being on the show today.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think
Okay.
that was pretty inclusive. It's
Yeah.
good.
So you have a few more minutes for some fun questions?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. If you can bring back one famous person from the dead, who would you pick?
This is a really tough one, honestly, and I know you shared it with me a little while ago, but famous person, I was like, oh, my first thought was Alexander Hamilton. So I'm a big like Broadway
Okay.
fan, and I really enjoy that musical, and I just kind of like would be like want to ask questions. What would you do differently if you knew,
Okay.
sort of thing. I don't know. It just that was the first thing that came to mind.
I like it.
Would you give your kid this gun, and send him out to a duel, knowing that that was going to be the end of his life, that sort of thing. There's just so many things. It's such a interesting story. So that would be a fun person to learn from if he could see his life in hindsight, sort of thing.
I like it. Very cool.
So,
All right. What is the funniest thing you've seen a kid do? I'm interested to see this because you said you did some coaching of youth sports. So.
oh gosh, I do a lot of coaching of youth sports. Can't think of a sports thing that specifically, and I'm sure, like I said, I'm gonna walk away and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about this. But I have lots of kids. I have 5 kids, so there's some material there. And I will say, one time I came home from work, and I think it was work. I don't know. I came home and I was like, "Where's Liam? Where's the little one?" He was maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. I find him asleep in like my bed with no pants on, and I'm like, "What is going on? Where are his pants?" And I think he's got a banana. Like he's like asleep with a banana. It's like it's open but not eaten or something. And I was like, who knows, right? I don't know what this is. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna leave me sleeping. I don't wake up sleeping children. That's just not a thing I do. I'm just not very good at organizing nap times and things. So if they're sleeping, whatever. So I go downstairs, just whatever, go in the kitchen, look for something to drink, open the fridge, and there's his pants. And I'm just like, why are his pants in the fridge? I don't know. I'll never know because he was like 2 or 3, but
That's awesome.
but that's the kind of thing. And this kid is just a goofball. I mean, I've gotten text messages from my neighbors like, Liam's outside riding a scooter and he doesn't have pants on. So I don't know what this kid is with his pants, but he doesn't do that anymore. He's like 9 now, but he does like to he puts his clothes on backwards a lot. He's a super smart kid. Maybe just too busy for doing things. I don't know. His clothes are on backwards a lot, so
That's awesome.
disconnect.
Kids are funny.
Yeah, they are for sure.
All right, last one. If humans came with a warning label, what would yours say?
I said does not fit in box. So
Okay.
I'm kind of a firm believer of just everybody is unique. And we talk about spectrums all the time with like autism and things like that. But I think it's like, where do we draw lines, right? And I think for me, I feel like nobody should be forced into a box. Everybody is, their own person with their own experiences, their own background. You never know what they're going through and what they've been through. So I think one of the most, harmful things in life is trying to make everybody fit into some sort of box. And so that's
Absolutely.
a little deep, but like that's
Nah.
my thought. That was my first thought. So
I like it. You can't judge a book by its cover. I think it's
definitely not. I mean,
No.
you get to know people and it's probably pretty interesting most of the time. So
Yeah. Very cool. Well, again, Kristen, I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you very much. And guys, go check out Attentive. I'll have all the links in the show notes, so definitely go check it out. Again, you do get 80% off of your first year of the platform access. So that was a $99 access price, correct, Kristen?
right, yeah. So you'll
Yep.
basically get it for about $20, $19
Yeah.
or whatever for
Yep.
the year. So it's like, again, no brainer, and now it's like extra no brainer. $20.
Yeah.
That doesn't even get you a pizza anymore, or
No.
like very far in your car. So to me, I would try it, but I'm a tech lover, so
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to look at ways to make your life easier and just
Right.
allow you more times, not even just to sell, but just to even go play with your kids because you can get off early because you don't have to go out and measure all day.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Don't measure on the weekend, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go to that baseball game. Let
Yep.
Attentive do the measuring for you. That's what we're here for.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Kristen. Well, thank you very much. And we'll be talking to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much, Scott. Have a good day.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.